call this meeting to order. It's the Rules and Open Government Committee meeting for February 26, 2008. First question is whether or not there are any changes to the agenda order that we need to take up. No? Okay, then the first item will, before we get into the first item, I think I'd like to ask Alicia Bosco, who's a member of my staff, to talk about some of the logistics of this meeting that are different than our regular Rules Committee meetings.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and committee members. I just wanted to let members of the public know we have a Vietnamese interpreter next door in room 120. You can go out that door if you would like to hear this meeting in Vietnamese. Also, the yellow speaker cards are available if you would like to speak on any item. They're located at the table next to the door. Please go ahead and bring them to me once you have filled them out. And then, and there are additional cards in room 120 for the people that are watching the meeting in that room. And then the last announcement is that if you need your parking validated, there is a machine right outside room 120 in the lobby. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That takes us then to the first item, City Council agenda. February 19th is none. The meeting was canceled. February 26, 2008 draft agenda. Any changes on page 1? Page 2 or 3? Page 4 or 5? Page 6 or 7? Page 8 or 9? Page 10 or 11? Page 12 or 13? Page 14 or 15? Page 16 or 17?
Was there something on 4.6 I have a note?
Back to item 4.6, the Coyote Valley Specific Plan and Revised Environmental Impact Report. Is there something on that? That's ready to go?
Yeah, that's ready to go.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I think there was a question about whether or not it was going to be ready for that meeting.
It did come out yesterday in the early distribution packet, so it is ready.
Okay, back to page 18 or 19. Page 20. When you get to 20, you know it's a long meeting. I do have some requests for additions. Request to present a commendation to Jill Scott of the Rosicrucian Order. Commendations to grand prize winners in the Art in Silicon Valley Conference for Community Justice Martin Luther King Jr. Student Writing Program. Request for excused absence for Councilmember Nguyen. Resolution in support of issuing a postal stamp in honor of Mayor Tom Bradley. Any other additions? Nope. Other changes? What about the time and the schedule? I thought Tuesday's meeting was a little confusing for the public. It was confusing for me. So probably confusing for the public in terms of the sequence of how we took the redevelopment, and then we took 3.8, 3.9, and came back to 3.1. And how is it scheduled now in terms of the redevelopment agenda?
Well, the current is the standard of the redevelopment would be heard no earlier than 3:30. And I think if there was a need for a change, we could address that perhaps next week at Rules Committee, but 3:30, I don't imagine the council's going to finish prior to 3:30 on the 26th.
So we would take it at the end of the rest of the council agenda, the way we have done in the past? Okay, is there anything else on this agenda where we've got things sort of out of sequence numerically?
No.
Okay.
So
If there are no other changes, I think, is there a motion?
I'll move for approval with the adds.
Motion is to approve with the additions. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. That carries unanimously. That takes us to the redevelopment agency agenda. Nothing on February 19th. February 26th, redevelopment agency agenda. Anything on page 1? Page 2 or 3? That's it? Any additions?
Mr. Mayor, no, there are no additions for that date from the agency.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion is to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, that's unanimous. That completes the agenda work. Legislative updates, there are none, state or federal. Although I was in Sacramento this morning and meeting with the Big Ten mayors to talk about the water crisis in California and meeting with the governor as well. And our legislative people in Sacramento were there, so we'll eventually work that into some sort of a legislative report. The public record, is there anything in the public record the committee wishes to pull and discuss?
Motion to note and file.
Second.
Motion is to note and file. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. That carries unanimously. Appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. We have the appointment of Jennifer Rodriguez to replace Beverly Bryant on the Envision San Jose 2040 Task Force. Any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Motion is to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Not opposed. That carries unanimously. We have the appointment of Councilmember Williams to lead the Okayama Sister City Delegation, and I have confirmed with Councilmember Williams he's willing to take the lead. He's going to go practice his Japanese, so I understand he's pretty good anyway. Is there a motion on that?
Motion. Second.
Motion is to approve that appointment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. So that carries unanimously. That takes us to the main item of the day. That's the Saigon Business District discussion. And for those that arrived late, there is overflow in room 120, as well as Vietnamese interpreter, if anybody wishes to hear it in Vietnamese. And I'd ask that this matter be put on the agenda to discuss actions to be taken in response to concerns that there was a Brown Act violation with regard to the action taken by the council on November 20th. And I and Councilman Nguyen have made some recommendations of action to take, and we've gotten a couple of memos from other council members as well. But before we talk about it, I do want to give the city attorney an opportunity to report on whatever work he's been able to do on the Brown Act issue since last week.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the committee. In response to, there have been two allegations made that there was in connection with the 1120 action, that there was a violation of the Brown Act, specifically that there were discussions prior to the meeting and commitments made on the vote. The allegations come in two forms. We first received a letter from James Chadwick making the allegation. We have followed up with Mr. Chadwick asking for additional evidence. He points to the statements made publicly, which I think we're all aware of, that appeared in the press, in addition to the five-person memorandum and then actions taken by the council as his supporting evidence. In the case of the TV interview, which has been the most widespread and where the focus of the discussion has been, and this is the interview with Councilmember Williams, we have reviewed the excerpts that have been put on the TV, the actual interview. We are informed that actual interview was over an hour. And this is based on conversations with Councilmember Williams. We are making efforts to try to obtain the entire tape so we can get the full story. And we've not been successful at this point, and it may be that we need to subpoena that tape. But at this point, we have reviewed what was broadcast on the air. I want to go over briefly the ground rules here on the Brown Act and what the issue is. I think many of us are aware of it, but for the public's background, it's probably important. Simply put, the Brown Act prohibits decisions from taking place on any matter that's within the council's jurisdiction or this committee's jurisdiction as well, outside the public meeting process. And what that really means is that there are 11 members of the city council. You can't have a majority making a decision in advance of that meeting, and so a majority is 6 members. The interpretation of the Brown Act is also, what the language is prohibits members from using any communication from developing a collective concurrence on an action to be taken. And that includes what's called a serial meeting or a seriatim meeting, where you meet individually or with a group, one at a time, or different council members talk about the same issue, getting to 6 where you get a collective decision. And so the first issue is whether or not there's a serial meeting. And that's the first question. The guidance we look to is really set forth in opinions from the Attorney General. This is the California Attorney General. And essentially says that, as I mentioned, if individual meetings take place but taken as a whole, it involves a majority of the body's members, then you have a serial meeting. And then once you have a serial communication, the question then is, were they used to develop some kind of consensus or collective concurrence on an action? And what the Attorney General focuses on is that were there substantive conversations among the members concerning an agenda item which would be viewed as contributing to the development of a consensus? And they really focus on the substantive communications. What we know is we have a memo. We have a memo signed by 5 members. So we at least know we had 5 people that had a substantive conversation, signed off on a memo, and so the remaining issue is whether or not Councilmember Williams I should tell you what we've reviewed. We've reviewed the various letters, we've reviewed the interview, we've had discussions with Councilmember Nguyen, we've had discussions with Councilmember Williams, and we've reviewed the excerpts of the 11/20 meeting, and we even went back to the June meeting when this issue first came up. The discussion with Councilmember Williams was appears to be a very casual conversation. It was a remark made by Councilmember Williams saying, "I will support you," and he made it to Councilmember Nguyen. Whether that's substantive or not, it doesn't really in and of itself amount to a substantive conversation. Because it was nothing specific. This took place right after the summer break. It appears to be late July, early August, and that was the content of the communication. It was a water cooler conversation or a coffee conversation where you just make a casual remark about, "This is a good project, I support you." The problem is the interview, in reviewing the interview, it suggests that was the basis for his vote. And so it leaves the public with the perception that there is at least a prior commitment. And while we don't find a Brown Act violation because of the context and the nature of basically a casual remark, I think we agree with the concern that's set forth in the mayor's and Councilmember Nguyen's memo that the perception is there, and I think we need to make sure it's cleaned up. Now, I've not reviewed the interview, and I wouldn't make a final conclusion until we see that complete interview, because I think that's very important. Councilmember Williams tells me that the interview went on and on. It was almost like a deposition. And there's a lot more to see. So our recommendation is this is very similar to the Tropicana situation that some of you were involved with a number of years ago, where we did rescind the prior action. And so we took it up again in a separate meeting, and the city council took an action to rescind it, and then at that time they did another hearing. We recommend that the council reschedule this to rescind the prior action and then decide where it wants to go. And it really is primarily, while the final conclusion as to whether or not a Brown Act violation occurred, it has been made, there is a clear perception issue based on the television interview. That's our report.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee for the city attorney? I'd like then to turn to what do we do? That's the reason we're here, is to discuss what actions should be taken in this situation. And Councilman Nguyen and I authored a memo with recommendations of what to do. And those recommendations, I think, are the things we should do. Whether or not the Brown Act violation is yes, no, or maybe, it doesn't really matter, because we're trying to deal with the appearance and perception, as the city attorney outlined. So we have recommended a series of steps for the council to take on March 4th on the city council agenda, and are recommending the rules put those on the agenda to first rescind the resolution and all the other actions taken on November 20th, under agenda item 9.1, which was approval of the designation of Vietnamese retail area. Adopt a resolution recognizing the Story Road retail area between Center Road and US 101 as a Vietnamese retail destination area. And then direct staff to prepare a ballot measure for the November election that asks the voters, shall the Story Road retail area between Center Road and US 101 be named Little Saigon? Reallocate the available funding currently budgeted for signage for this area to help cover the costs of an election, and suspend work on the design of banners and signs until a name has been determined.
Mr. Mayor, can you speak a little closer to the mic?
Okay, I'll get closer to the microphone. Yeah, longer neck. The next item 5 was to direct the staff to draft a council policy that outlines a process to officially recognize or officially name areas or districts of the city to be modeled on the council policy, which already exists, for changing street names, and provides proposals to name business districts should come from an organization representing the businesses in the district. So that is the recommendation that I'm making, and I'm going to let Councilor Nguyen speak to it as well.
Thank you, Mayor Reed. I think, as you can all imagine, my colleagues and also members to the public, that the past few months have been a very trying and divisive ones, not just for myself, but also for the Vietnamese American community, as well as for the city of San Jose. And I think that at this point, in the spirit of the Lunar New Year, and I had an opportunity to spend that time with my family and loved ones, that it's really time to rejuvenate and move forward, trying to find a resolution to this issue. We are here as representatives of the entire city. So when in a particular issue, such as the naming district, even though it's in my council district, District 7, it's really impacting the entire city. And that's why Mayor Reed and I are proposing to put this issue on the November ballot so that voters from the city of San Jose can weigh in. Because obviously what we've been hearing the last 5 months is that it's been affecting almost every Vietnamese person living in the city of San Jose. And everyone wants an opportunity to address the issue. We also hear from the proponents of the name Little Saigon also want to have democracy in San Jose, which I believe we do have democracy. That's the reason why my family and I came to America, is to embrace democracy. And so we're truly embracing democracy here, and I wholeheartedly believe that we do have democracy in here in San Jose. But if if we need to prove that we need to have democracy in San Jose, then putting this on a citywide ballot is really putting democracy to its best and purest form. And so I think that with the approval of this memo, which we'll have an opportunity to discuss at the full council on March 4th, and I'm seeking for support that we can actually find resolution to this issue.
Thank you, Councilor Nguyen. Any other comments or questions from the committee at this point? I know there were a couple other memos from other councilors. Councilor Constant. And Councilor Chu is here and wishes to speak on his memo as well. So.
Thank you, Mayor. This one issue, in context of everything I've seen so far being here for 14 or so months, is probably the one issue that has caused me the most internal conflict. It's been something that has, every time I think I feel confident where I am on it, more information comes to light that moves me in another direction, and it keeps continuing to do so, even some information that I've received since my memo went out yesterday. I think that the 3 memos that are out have some things in common, and those things are rescinding the prior action and setting up a policy for future business districts. The difference is kind of how we come to resolution on this one particular issue. The concerns I have with the memo that the mayor and council member Nguyen put out is that I think if we do a ballot measure that simply asks one question, should the Story Road retail area be named Little Saigon, it doesn't provide for an alternative if the public opinion is Saigon Business District or something else. And I think that we could be put in a position where it gets voted a no, but we still don't have a resolution to the issue, and we have to go back out and do this entire process again. I'm also, quite frankly, concerned with the fiscal impact, and before this memo came out, had some similar thoughts and did some research into the fiscal impact, and it is a lot of money. The other concern I have is that the sequence of events might be a little out of order. I think that perhaps what we really should do is, after rescinding the action, is really have the discussion of what process are we going to set in place for all business districts. Because you've heard me say many times in the past, I think we owe it to the community to have certainty, have some consistency in what we do, and that by coming up with a council policy that is vetted and run through the community members throughout the city, and not just in something like this where it's got a cultural aspect to it, because we have business districts popping up all throughout the city. I'm working on one right now in my district with District 6, and I think that should be done before we take the next step, so that we don't set a precedence. And one of the things that I think about is when we're building our business district in District 1 and District 6 on the border, we have some dissension in the community about some of the aspects, and I'd hate to go through the entire process and then have people demanding a ballot measure so they could be treated the same way that the previous one, and then we're looking at another $250,000 to run a special election, or perhaps more if it's a special election, the next time. So I think that if we were able to review in more detail what the city, the council member, the agency, and the stakeholders did, and what was laid out as the process, and give the council a chance to revisit it, may be more prudent. I'm not wedded to that, because I still don't feel like I've found the ultimate solution to this, and I don't think any of us feel that way. But I'm not sure where we're going with this first memo really gets us there. And I understand the cultural implication of this. As I've shared with some of you in the past, I grew up in Michigan, and I'm Greek, and my father immigrated here when he was 18, and I remember very fond memories from taking visitors and friends to Greektown, and we did that on a regular basis, and it was part of our cultural upbringing, and it was something that I looked forward to, and I understand that aspect of it. Unfortunately, in this case, I think we've kind of made a mess of that part in the process. I think we came in with all good intentions, and I just hate to see something that doesn't come to a resolution and it gets worse instead of better. So what I would like to see, and I would ask, is that as we may not come up with a concrete decision today, because we can just tell by the 5 people who've signed on to memos today, we've got 3 completely or fairly different things going forward. What I would like to see is, as we agendize this for the council, whether it be March 4th or any other date, depending on which work we want done, that we agendize it broad enough so that we can discuss all options and the council can have an opportunity to weigh in as a whole. I think we'd be doing a disservice to the community and our colleagues if we scripted something very tight and was agendized so there was one option and it gets voted down and we're in a stalemate. And that's not what I want. I don't think it's what anybody else wants. And I'm sure I'll have some more comments after the public speaks and my colleagues speak.
Okay. Councilmember Churko, do you have anything?
I'd like to hear public comment first.
I think I'll turn to Councilmember Chu's here, who wants to speak to his memo that I think he and Councilmember Constant authored. So,
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to speak, the spirit of my memo with Councilmember Constant is to bring this issue to a closure as soon as possible, and also with the least cost to the public. So the basic of this memo is to, one, rescind the November 20th decision. Secondly, started a council policy or drafting a council policy that outlined the process of the official name area and so on and so forth, as you suggested in your memo. And thirdly, we just use the RDA survey data, or if that's not done properly, if we have any doubt that the survey wasn't done properly, I'll be open to do another survey, and then just and pick up the names and then work with the community on the design of the banners and the location of the banners. So the city will have to decide on the location of the banners and approve the design of the banner, and hopefully the community will come up with the money for designing and putting up with the signs. Because my understanding, they have already raised some money, and instead of spending elsewhere, I'd like to see if they were willing to spend on the design and the installation of the sign. So that's pretty much the spirit of my memo.
Thank you. Anything else from the committee? I think I'll turn to get some public testimony on this. We have people watching this in the other committee room, and perhaps in the council chambers if we have overflow. I'm not sure yet. And we have a lot of cards. We have a lot of cards who people who wish to speak, and so I'm going to have to limit the testimony to 1 minute. It's always helpful if you can submit things in writing, as we do get those in advance or afterwards or whatever, but we got a lot of people who want to speak. Okay, we're good to go. On public testimony, first speaker, Pete McHugh. Just come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I know you don't need a microphone, Pete, but we'd like to make sure that we get your voice on, this is being webcast, so come on up to this microphone here.
I'm going to defer if I made a favor.
Okay, I've got a card from Phaedra. Come on up,
Sorry.
Phaedra.
Thank you.
I'm pleased to be here, and I'm here in coordination with the San Jose Voters for Democracy and Our Voice for Democracy, and what we'd like to recommend is a solution that we think meets everyone's needs. The first is that the election be held in June, that all names be on the ballot: Vietnam Town, Little Saigon, Saigon Business District, Vietnam Business District, and New Saigon. We think that that will allow everyone to work together. We think the spirit of a recall is not what's good for the city of San Jose, and none of us feel comfortable with that. We are going to coordinate as the labor movement to help this campaign run well, to bring harmony to the community, and we are all feel good about this, and we feel like we appreciate the spirit in which the mayor and Councilmember Nguyen's memo was raised, and we're trying to follow the spirit of that memo, and also the input of Councilmembers Chu and Constant and Cortese, but we believe this is a solution that we all feel comfortable with. The labor movement will stand behind, and in partnership with the Vietnamese community, and really make this city whole again. Do you feel comfortable with that? And do you feel comfortable with that?
As soon as it's on the citywide voters file with
Yes, so we all feel comfortable with that. Thank you.
Okay, and that was H.D. Nguyen and Henry Lee. They're
Yes,
accompanying
thank
you. You did all that in less than a minute. It's good. We see when you're focused, you can do it. Okay, let me go back then to Pete McHugh.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. I had some brief remarks, but I will net them out. I think the original proposal, which was to name an area in honor of the Vietnamese community to recognize their sacrifices and contributions, was an excellent one. It is in line with the recognition of the Freedom and Heritage flag, so I commend you and I applaud the city for that. I think the proposal that we just heard from the Voters for Democracy Now! And from the labor movement is an excellent solution, and I would support that. And I would hope that the Rules Committee would be willing to recommend that. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. All right, Ken Nguyen, Ross Signorino, Vincent Mai. I think these folks are all in the room, so just come on up in the order that I give you, and then we'll call people from the other room.
Mr. Mayor, council member, I'll be really short. What I want to say is Mr. Pete Constant said that already. What I'd like to add is we need to get to the solution somehow we can spend less rather than $500,000 or $200,000 while we're in the crunch of budget deficit. We need to save money for something else more important. Secondly, if we need to go to the ballot, why not go just within the District 7? Thank you.
Ross Signorino, then Vincent Mai, and then Sophie Bien Tran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, Rules Committee. I am not Vietnamese. I want to say my name loud and clear right here. My name is Ross Signorino. I support Councilman Nguyen of the 7th District. I am opposed to any effort to try to recall her, which I feel is unjust, even though it does permit it in our system of democracy here. I think, too, at the same time that if this should come to be put on the ballot, it shouldn't only be in the District 7. It should be throughout the whole city. Since we're spending taxpayers' money on this, whether it be just in District 1, whether it be just a little bit or more, running it completely citywide, then the people of San Jose have a right to vote on it since public money is being spent on this.
Sorry,
I
Ross,
think-
your time is up.
My time's up?
It's only 1 minute today.
Pity. Thank you.
Thank you. Vincent Mai, Sophie Bien Tran, and then Dan Huang.
Honorable Mayor, council members, and committee members, my name is Vincent Mai. My main concern here today is the precedent this council will be creating for years to come if it acts without careful consideration. This council and the citizens of San Jose should not be held hostage to any one group of vocal protesters. As honorable council members, you were elected by the citizens of San Jose to act on behalf of the entire community and not just for the benefit of one vocal group. If the council gives in to one group of protesters today, then for years to come, the city council will forever have to give in to countless other groups that do not get their way. I do not believe this council would want to leave such a legacy for the future of San Jose. I urge for the support of Mayor Chuck Reed and Councilmember Madison's memo. Thank you for your time.
Sophie Bien Tran, Dan Huang, Henry Lim.
Honorable Mayor and council members, my name is Sophie Tran, and I'm here on behalf of the Federation of Vietnamese Americans of Northern California and our constituents. We're here today to take back our voices and to represent the first of hopefully many who will rise from the silent majority to speak up, not only as members of the Vietnamese community, but as San Joseans. We are proud residents of San Jose from different districts, and we thank you, Mayor Chuck Reed and Madison Nguyen, for allowing us to have a voice on this matter. We fully support your proposal to bring this issue to the November ballot for a citywide vote. I hope, honorable council members, that you will support the mayor and council member Madison in the endeavor to restore faith, peace, and unity in our community through the democratic process of a citywide vote this November. Thank you very much for your time.
Dan Huang, Henry Lim, and then Henry Lee.
Mayor and council members and ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to make a quick decision on naming the area now and here in this city hall. I think it's not fair, nor there is democracy for you to create a mess, and now you ask the citywide voter to clean it up with taxpayers' money. That is unethical and irresponsible. As citizens, I look up to you as leader, and I expect you to act as leaders. Take responsibility, act with integrity, act with honesty. The sure way to save face is to admit the mistake and correct it. You said naming the area is to honor Vietnamese community.
Sorry,
If that's true.
Sorry, your time is up,
You
sir.
need to let the community
Our
choose
next,
the name.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Thank you.
Dan Huang, Henry Lim, Henry Hong Lee.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Huang, and I'm representing Federation of Vietnamese and Americans in Northern California. I have read all the memos generated by Council Member Constant, Chu, Nguyen, Mayor Chuck Reed, and also Vice Mayor Cortese. My admiration, and I expect a lot from that, because this is a teamwork that could bring the answer to the question. I'm going to state this personally. I have a big hang-up recalling an elected official without any documented evidence that she or he violated the code of ethics or the safety for the public, nor the performance. I support the joint Henry Lee, Han Yao, and the lady from the Labor for the solution, citywide ballot measure anytime from now to November. Thank you.
Henry Lim, Henry Hong Lee, and then Su Trong.
Mayor Chuck Reed, my name is Henry Lim. I support a citywide election as soon as possible. June would be the best. I think the issue is now no longer exclusively for District 7. It should be citywide. I live in District 8. I want to vote. My family want to vote. And my neighbors want to vote on this one. I think the campaign will be very good for the whole city of San Jose. It will be educational, and the people will learn why is that the Vietnamese Americans are so emotional about these issues, and it will put an end once and for all. And secondly, the cost. I think the cost is reasonable. In fact, it's very low for the issue that is so impacting all of us. Thanks.
Henry Lee, then Su Trong, and then Hugh Tran.
All the mayors and city council, city staff, I'm Henry Lee. I'm the resident in District A. And we have a few comments here. First of all, I'm proud to be the resident of District A for the last 28 years. Since I learned and know about this issue, I've been witness many unrest, in the community event, so nobody able to find a solution for this for the last few months, even city council member, even city council. What I propose today is let everybody in the city help us to decide this, to decide on this issue. It's not just single group or anybody here anymore. So this is for the best interest for the people, solution. We must have the citywide election. Thank you very much.
Hugh Tran, H.D. Nguyen, and Phu Thai.
Good afternoon, Mayor and committee member. My name is Hugh Chung. Today, I come here to support the citywide vote because it's the best way. I think, I believe, and I feel that it would come out a good resolution. Besides, I cannot understand why they disturb people, even the old people like us. So, please do not set a precedent for the city. And I feel confident that every voice would be heard, because we should make a vote on the ballot. So that's the best way.
Thank you.
The best way to run.
Thank you.
And I appreciate everything for you. And God bless you. God bless San Jose citizen.
Thank you.
I God
Your
bless
time is
America.
up. Thank you. Hugh Tran, then H.D. Nguyen, and Phu Thai. Okay. Boo, come on up. You're closest.
Good afternoon. My name is Boo Tai. I'm a trustee with Franklin McKinley, as well as a resident of District 7. I first want to recognize Councilwoman Madison Nguyen for her courage. As a resident of District 7, I'm really proud to have a courageous councilwoman that's willing to stand up for the right issues. So I appreciate that. In light of some of the recent proposal, I would want to support a citywide election on this issue. I think this is definitely a demonstration of democracy, and it would allow folks to input in a way that is most transparent. So I appreciate the memo that Mayor Reed and Councilwoman Nguyen has put forth, and however, whether it's the earliest in June or November, I would like to see this on the ballot. Thank you so much.
She came up with federal sampling, but she didn't get your 1 minute, so come, H.D. Nguyen.
I just want to take this opportunity to, first of all, thank you, Mayor Chuck Reed, Vice Mayor David Cortese, Council Members Madison Nguyen, Kenson Chu, and Pete Constant. We appreciate all your effort and your work to help bring back the serenity to the city. For so long, this city has been going through a lot of chaos, and we hope that finally, with the help of the labor union, that we can find something that, can work together. So I hope that you will support what we are working with the labor union and move forward with that. Thank you.
Okay, there's some folks outside that we're going to, waiting to come in and talk. Lei Van, Tu Hui, or Nguyen, John No.
Hello, everybody. First thing, Mr. Madison broken the law. Mr. Chakrit, I heard you say something on a couple of days, and you want to spend money, please. Spend your own money. Don't spend our tax money, please. And I support Mr. Kenson Chu plan. Thank you very much.
Tu Huynh, John No, Duke Pham, and then Brian Doe.
Dear Chair, Madam, I support Council Member Kenson Chu proposal. It's the best way to heal the wound between the EU and San Jose citizen. So thank you very much.
John No, Duke Pham. Oh, you're John No?
Yeah.
Okay. Duke Pham, Brian Doe.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm a neutral guy, and I would like to bring my idea about this problem. We have an issue with solving a problem that most people need to decide on. So the best way to solve it is to ask the people opinion. So thank you for honoring Vietnamese community to allow us to name one research area with Vietnamese name. So we would like to ask council members and the mayor to allow us to vote on the issue at its truest democracy form. Thanks a lot.
Duke Pham, Brian Doe.
My name is Duke Pham already.
Okay, I'm one behind here on my cards. Brian Doe.
Honorable mayors, council members, I'm concerned on a couple of levels. We are about to spend $214,000 to decide whether we should spend $100,000 for the banner or not. To me, to some degree, that sounds rather ridiculous. But more importantly, Mr. Chuck, you ran a campaign of open government. Right now, whether we like it or not, there is a suspicions of a Brown Act violations. We should take the time to investigate, to the further research upon whether there was violations and why that violation happened before we can decide how to move forward. Until that cloud is clear, we're not ready to move forward. There's much time to investigate, there's time to discuss and find our solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. My Vietnamese is not perfect, so there are a couple of people whose names I've called I don't think have spoken. Tu Huynh, Huynh, and John No. if they are here, come on up. Otherwise, Patrick Foulé and Thomas Nguyen. Thomas Nguyen.
Hi, I'm Thomas Nguyen. I'm support Mr. Dave Cortese and Cousin proposal because it's about $250,000 tax money for any goodwill service. And Mr. Reed's proposal is unethical and waste money. Mr. Reed's message during your campaign was no lying, no cheating, no stealing. And this proposal, your proposal is stealing the tax money. And you also said do not tolerate anyone who does any mistake. What about breaking the law and then lying about it? Is that okay? Madison exactly what I can absolutely guarantee that Brown Act was not violated. With the evidence that our community provides, it has become clear that the law has been violated. In short, Madison has broken the law and lied about it. What is Chocolate going to do about it? His campaign promise
Sorry, your
the
time
paper
is up.
it was printed on. So please save that money.
Patrick Foulé, Min Stephen Devine, and Charlie.
The city attorney has spoken. The impression is not enough. We need to go into the real investigation of Madison Nguyen, whether she violates the Brown Act. That's our request. And then during that time, we asked the mayor to recuse Madison Nguyen to be involved in any vote in this issue, because you said open government, and if she commit, we need to investigate if she commits some law violation, she should be recused from any vote in this issue.
Min Stephen Devine, Charlie Miller Lee, Hung Fan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hong Phan. And I want you guys, think about the beach of Vietnamese community. We have to do something, to make, nice and responsibility when you decide. So I come here, to support, the proposal of the Canon Chu, and we like, we like, Little Saigon being named in this area. Thank you very much.
Min Stephen Devine, Charlie Miller Lee, Lee Tong.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was very surprised to learn at the last minute about the meeting yesterday and the meeting today. It seemed like every meeting is a secret. We don't know anything until the last minute. And our people like to be in ambush each time. So I'm very surprised because the meeting must be learned by people beforehand. And so we can prepare to come here. I just learned 15 minutes ago and just jumped to here. See? So on the process of this vote and everything is something wrong. Because at the first time, Madison Nguyen told she looking for the proposal of the people, the agreement of people. And then she turned out to be that only the people in the District 7 and 1,000 feet away can.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Okay, so I'll
Only have
support
one-
the
one
Little
minute.
Saigon. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Min Stephen Devine, Charlie Miller Lee.
A second, please. Okay, I'd like to say thank you, and do not cut me off. I will take 1 minute. Okay, we played by the rules. The community played by the rules. We won. Do not change the rules after it's been played, okay? And I will not speak for myself. I will let somebody else speak for you.
On story road right now.
You listen very carefully.
The people who are doing business on Story Road right now, the merchants and the people who live within 1,000 feet of this area will have the biggest input in regards to what the name will be. Saigon, right? But since we don't live there, we live about 3 or 4 miles down. Our input is not going to make that much of a difference. I want to be very frank with you so that you're not surprised at how the process is going to work or what the turnout is going to like. They're going to be like. So the next couple months, what we're going to do is we're going to canvass the area again, pass out.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Suggested today, and in the next few weeks, we're going to solicit names.
Your time is up, sir. And you have to actually step back. We got lots of people who want to speak. Everybody wants a turn. I got a big stack of cards. Come on. Charlie Miller Lee is our next speaker. Stop interrupting the speakers, please.
Mr. Mayor and council member, my name is Charlie Lee. I represent for the community in San Mateo County. In the past month, from November until now, I saw the people, they practice the wrong democracy. It was so disgusting. You, the mayor or council, we can do whatever I do. Every day I contract the maintenance for the street for the San Mateo County. Every time I go to the city hall, everybody asks, what's wrong with your community? I want to message for our Vietnamese community here. We have to know who we are, where we come from. On April 30, they say evacuation of Saigon. Who say evacuation of Little Saigon? My hand here, I fight on New Year to protect Saigon. The bullet still in my hand. This is capital for Vietnam. Mayor Chocolate, he the veteran in Vietnam. He came from to Saigon. He not come to Little Saigon.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I support for the name Saigon Business District.
Dien Tran, Thun Tran, and then Yip Nguyen.
I am
Get a little closer to the microphone.
my name Nguyen. I live in English. I live as Livery 7. I like Little Saigon. And I like Mr. Counseling. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dien Tran, Tan Tran, Dip Nguyen. So could I get your name so I can check where I am on the cards?
My name is Ding Chen.
Thank you.
I live in San Jose. I have two things to talk today. The first thing, I would like to say Madison Nguyen is no good for our community. This is fire, so all of you know she is good or not. The second thing, I support my Vice Mayor David Cottegi and Kenson Chu. The idea about when then March 4, we will vote for Saigon, Little Saigon. That's all I want to say today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker, Tan Tran, Yip Nguyen. Thank you.
Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Diệp Nguyen. I would like support for Kenson Chu Purple. The reason I support for Kenson Chu reason because it save money from city and it save time from everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Tan Tran?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. And then Hien Lu or Lu Hien, and then...
Good afternoon,
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council. I am Thanh Trân, live in San Jose, 18 years ago. Now, I support Little Saigon, support Deep Courtesy, support Kenson Chu, support content. That's it. Bye.
Hien Lu, Knight Nguyen, Julia Vu.
I support Mr. Chu idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi to everybody.
Come a little closer
May-
to the microphone, please. Just a little closer to the microphone. Good.
Yeah. Hi to everybody. My name is Nguyen. Now I support Mr. Ken Chu proposal. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Julia Ngọc Vũ. I support Ken Chu idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Lei Chi Vu, Ho Nguyen.
My name is Lee Chi Vu, and I support Mr. Dave Cortese proposal to save our tax money. Thank you.
Ho Nguyen, Man Pham, Mi Fung Lee.
Hi, everybody. We love we support Kaizen Chu plan. We need the save, please save the tax money. Please, thank you.
Man Pham, Mi Fung Lee, and then Arthur Bao.
I support Kaizen Chu proposal. It best way to save tax money. Thank you.
Mi Fung Lee, Arthur Bao.
The reason why we're here today is on November 20th, the council, under the leadership of Mayor Rhee and Councilmember Nguyen, purposely ignored the voice of the people of District 7, in particular the business and the resident, the stakeholder within 1,000 feet radius. Now, a citywide vote at Mayor Rhee and Councilmember Nguyen proposed to cover up a possible Brown Act violation would one more time do injustice to the very people who affect the most. In short, this recommendation would be equivalent to a $300,000 mistake that would one more time drown out the voice of the very people who deserve their voice heard the most. Two wrong is not going to make one right.
Arthur Bao, Tang Dinh, and then Cao Tin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm here to raise my concerns regarding to this issue. I believe that we should not waste tax money on this issue. This is a District 7 issue. That district, the councilman and the people of District 7 resolve it within themselves. My tax dollars should not be spent on this issue because this is something that I think can be done within the district. If the councilwoman cannot take care of it in her own district, maybe she would reconsider her position in that district. That's all.
Tang Dinh, Cao Tin, Phu Nguyen, Hoa Trung.
My name is Tang Dinh. I have some idea about it. First, I support Mr. Chu proposal to honor the Vietnamese people. Give them what they want. The name Little Saigon is all they want. That would save just 300,000 tax money. I also please investigate the Nguyen Brown Act violation. Thank you.
Cao Tin, Phu Nguyen, Hoa Trung.
Good afternoon. Councilwoman Nguyen misleading information to the City Council have brought the city unnecessary troubles over the past few months. Councilwoman Nguyen had done so far is not right, anti-democratic, in violation of public trust, and in violation of the Sunshine Law. She had broken the law. She violated the Brown Act. We asked Council Member Madison Nguyen to resign, and we wonder why does Mr. Reed try to cover up for her? I support Kenson Chu memo, and I also question the credibility of the report of City Attorney because Mr. Chuck Reed always on Council Member Nguyen's side, and he does everything to cover up for her, to side with her. So once again, I wonder the credibility of the City Attorney report. Thank you.
Phu Nguyen, Hoa Trung, and then Qui Tran.
Dear Major Chuck Reed and City Council members, I'm a neutral guy, I'm a young guy too, and I'm not really into the fight, but here what I'm saying is, there's so many protest people out there that show up every Tuesday, and they come from all over the Bay, not only in the city of San Jose. So I think the best way to let citywide election in November is let everybody view their opinion on that, because not only me, but all my co-workers, Vietnamese, non-Vietnamese, Caucasian, Asian, whatever, we're really involved in this, and that's one for all said it. And one last thing, it doesn't matter what name it is, but it's a recognition that we really want. Thank you.
Hoa Trung, Qui Tran, Tan Din.
My name is Hoa Trung. I think you cannot spend our money, our tax money, to clean your trash. So I agree with the memo that Ken Chu has proposed. So I think city need to decide clever so that you don't spend our tax money for your trash. Thank you.
Qui Tran, Tan Din, John Nguyen.
Good afternoon. I am Thanh Dinh. I support Ken Chu. Thank you. I support Ken Chu proposal. Thank you.
John Nguyen, Kong Dang.
Yes.
Tam Nguyen.
Good evening. The first, I would like to talk to everybody. I support Little Saigon and save money for tax. I support plan of Canton Chu. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I could be confused in my card, so can you give me your name when you come up, sir? I'm sorry. Yes, okay, thank you. Come on up.
My name is Nguyen Dang. I would like to support Ken Chu proposal on November 20th, 2007, and two more city council, but I forgot. I'm sorry about that. And I also don't want the city council move money that using to make the banner $100,000 to vote on November 2008. U.S. money that our tax contribution. Please execute democracy for San Jose. If not, we will against until we have a democracy and justice in San Jose. Last month I heard that most people in District 7 complained that Ms. Madison Nguyen gave them the present, but for them to sign up the paper, in the paper to support her. That is unlawful. Thank you very much.
Tam Nguyen, Dave Huang, and then Hong Chu.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. My name is Tam Nguyen. I'm a citizen of San Jose. I'm very concerned, Mr. Mayor, because in your recommendation on the 5 item, number 3 and number 5 contradict. Number 3, you propose this measure to be put on the public vote. Number 5, you recommend your staff to write a rule restrict to the local district by itself. That is contradict to the violation of the Brown Rule Act, because instead of resolve it right there, you kick it to another forum. So I urge of you, take a good sense of it, read the code, please. Read the recommendation of the violation of the act, require result at the city council, not the general population, because this issue is not a citywide, it is a Vietnamese community issue, please. Please reconsider your action. Thank you.
Dave Huang, Hung Tu, Sam Ho, Jessica Deng.
My name is Qui Trần. I live in San Jose. I come here to good life, support Ken Chu plan. I don't like Madison because she is a pro-consular.
Dave Huang, Hung Tu, Sam Ho, Jessica Deng.
I don't like the killer and the liar. I support Kang Tang Chu proposal.
Hung Tu, Sam Ho, Jessica Deng. Please give us your name so I can straighten my cards out.
Good afternoon, Mayor and
And please pull
Councilor.
the microphone down a little bit. There, better.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Councilor. I understand that you have good intention to help our community, but it's so far I see that we go the wrong way. So I see so far so many time meeting, we only know ahead about 1 hour. It seems like very secret, and I want to you to help us to vote just for district in District 7. It will be consistent, save money, and quickest time. By put on the ballot, we're going to take too long and cost tax money, which we all of us don't want. And choose Little Saigon won't hurt
I'm sorry.
any of you.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
You
The
win
next
and
speaker
I
is-
win. We
sorry.
win. We all win. We happy.
You got to stop. We got more
Mr.
speakers.
Chu, please speak for us.
Hung Tu, Sam Ho, Jessica Dang, and Hong Trung.
My name is Dave Huang, and I'm here just to ask for the council, the mayor and the council, just to be honest to the community and please do your job. And when you re-vote for the name of the district, of that piece of land. And I just want to, I borrowed the tape. I would like you just to continue to listen to the tape. We cannot cut it halfway.
10,000 feet. This area will have the biggest input in regards to what the name will be. Now, even if all of you, let's say 100% of you, including myself, like the name Little Saigon, right? But since we don't live there, we live about 3 or 4 miles down. Our input is not going to make that much of a difference. I want to be very frank with you so that you're not surprised at how the process is going to work and what the turnout is going to like. We're going to be like. So
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, the mayor and the council.
Hung Tu, Sam Ho, Jessica Dang, and Hung Trung.
Hello, my name is Tiểu. I'm a businessman on city of San Jose almost 18 years. So I'm very happy to lucky to be here today while I hear the meeting about 50 minutes ago. So I would like to ask Mr. Mayor and Councilor and Madison Nguyen and all the city council, we do something make our community look better. Because I know for sure no one our city have problem with something, very terrible. So we asking the city council, please review and reward what you guys did on the December 20, so much our community feel more happy. Thank you.
Sam Ho, Jessica Dang, Hung Trung.
We're sorry to interrupt, but we've been given someone else's time. It would be really helpful because...
Whose time have you been given? We don't, you already had a minute.
We're taking
Meatball had a
Sam's.
minute.
Yeah.
Sam?
Okay, you want to take your time? Okay, we'll
It's-
take the next person's time.
Sam.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. The fact is very clear that the decision made on November 20th was not the best decision and has caused a lot of pain in so many people for so many months. And I think that the council has been elected to make these decisions. And therefore, I'm urging that this decision doesn't have to go to the city, that it would cost so much more money and would drag on the process. I'm asking for your leadership as a city council to help reconsider this and take the vote under your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to take a 5-minute break now and try to get organized with the people that are in the other chambers so that we can get them in and out quickly. And those of you who have already talked, maybe give up your seats and other people come in, that's okay too, or you can stay. You don't have to leave the room, but we're going to just take a 5-minute break. meeting back to order. And I'm going to suggest that we, instead of just going ahead with the testimony, that we have a moment of discussion. I'd like to let Councilman Nguyen put a motion on the floor, and we can talk about what needs to be done, and then we can take some more public testimony, but before we run out of time for this meeting. Councilmember Nguyen.
Thank you, Mayor Reid. At this time, I'd like to make a motion so that we can have a motion on the floor to further the discussion, since we don't have much time. I move that we approve Mayor Reid in my memo all 5 recommendations with the following modifications. One would stay the same, and that is to rescind Resolution 74127 and all other actions taken by the Council on November 20, 2007 under Agenda Item 9.1, approval of the designation of a Vietnamese retail area. 2, adopt a resolution recognizing the Soy Road retail area between Central Road and US 101 as a Vietnamese retail destination area. 3, and this would be the modification, direct staff to prepare a ballot measure either June or November, for the June or November election. We will leave the discussion up to the full council whether it'll be on the June or November election on March 4th. And with the public's request to include the 6 names, we would also like to leave that up to the full council for discussion. 4, reallocate available funding currently budgeted for signage for this area to help cover the cost of the election and suspend work on the design of banners and signs for the area until a name has been determined. 5, direct staff to draft a council policy that outlines a process to officially name areas or districts of the city that is modeled on the council policy for changing street names, and provide that proposals to name business districts must come from an organization representing the businesses in the district. And that will be the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
And I would like to speak to the motion after the speakers.
Okay. I have some questions about the motion with regard to the ballot and the election. Councilman Nguyen's motion is for either the June or November ballot to be decided by the council. And so I have some questions for the clerk about the differences between June and November, what the cost differential might be. And then the other question is, does it have to be limited to one question, or can it be sort of like candidates, choose your favorite? Can we have like 6 names on, or 5 names, or whatever it is, or do we have to have one on the ballot? And what technical issues might there be in trying to get this to the council for a resolution on March 4th?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lee Price, City Clerk. First of all, I'd just like to preface my comments by saying determining the exact cost of conducting an election is a very complicated, complex matter. There are lots of variables. So having said that, our best estimate at this time to place a measure on the June ballot, since the city does not currently have any other ballot measures on for the June ballot, would be citywide approximately $592,407. Again, that's our best estimate today. Additional ballot measures citywide would cost $289,700. At this point in time, the city attorney and I would like some additional time to research whether or not a multiple choice answer, if you will, for a ballot measure is acceptable and is doable, since the Registrar of Voters conducts the elections for the city of San Jose. So we'd like to have some additional time to research that before we were able to give you a conclusive answer about whether or not you could ask the voters to select, if you will, a particular name out of a series of names. June is right around the corner. The last day that the council could call an election for the June ballot, as you already know, is your council meeting of March the 4th. It gives us very little time to get a timeline together for the public so they know what the ballot materials look like and what opportunities they have to submit ballot arguments in favor and against. It would be very tight. We could do it, but it would be very tight. Having some additional time to lay out the ballot measure language and give people an opportunity to review it and construct ballot arguments, of course, would be the preference. And you would have ample time to do that if the council decided to move in November as opposed to June.
What about the time between now and March 4th, and how much time do you think it'll take for you and the city attorney to figure it out? Because I don't want to put the council in a box. We've had a suggestion that we have 6 names on the ballot. Councilman Nguyen and I had originally suggested just to ask the question about Little Saigon. If the council wants to do one way or the other, can you provide the alternative language so the council can move one direction or the other?
Yes, we can. I think much of this is dependent on working with the registrar of voters and getting direction as to what they will, because they conduct the elections, as the city clerk said, and what they will require and allow. So that's something we can work with, and we could have alternatives that the council could consider by March 4th. We could certainly update the Rules Committee over the next couple of weeks to just let you know where we are, too.
And then the other thing about March 4th, since that's the last day, we have to have the exact, precise, this goes on the ballot language approved by the council at that meeting in order to make the June ballot?
That's correct. That's the last meeting before the March 7th deadline, which is a state recognized deadline in the Elections Code, and my deadline to get all ballot materials to the registrar of voters for the June ballot.
Okay, so it's doable by March 4th. Not always easy, but doable. Any other questions about the motion? Councilor Constant.
Kind of expanding on your technical questions. For Lee, I'm assuming the research that you'll do the research you will do will discuss whether it be a true ballot measure or an advisory measure and how that would affect the council. I just want to make sure, because my understanding just from our brief conversations is ballot measures are definitive and multiple choice advisory measures could still be subject to interpretation or overturned by a council. So I just want to make sure we don't get into any deeper controversy. The other thing, I just wanted to ask if we might also be able to look into some other alternatives that are elections, because I see problems with each of the different types of elections. If we do a district-only election, as we've heard from many people, it's at least a regional-wide, if not a city-wide issue. If we do a city-wide issue, it may be too dilute because there are some people in maybe the outskirts of the city that don't have any interest. We have the RDA stakeholder process that we went through that I understand we didn't get a whole lot of response to. But there's also another process, and some of you may remember the S&I ballot process, and I went through that, where it was an official vote done through a ballot, but it involved stakeholders. And for example, I owned a business in an S&I area and was eligible to vote for that even though I was outside of the S&I area as a resident. So as a resident, I couldn't vote, but as a business owner, I could. And I do know that there are some businesses that are directly affected in that area where the owners don't even live in the city of San Jose, and then they they're a true stakeholder and they're not getting a chance. So I would just like to ask if maybe we could also get an analysis from the city attorney and the city clerks on how we handled that and the advantages, the pros and cons to it, because as I recall, it was an official vote that was done by mail. It was done internally. It wasn't done by the registrar.
Yeah, we can do that. That process is required under redevelopment law, and it's a process you follow redevelopment law, and it was for the project area committee. So we can come back with describing that type of process if the council wanted to consider something like that. But it's less formal than the election.
Okay, any other questions about the motion? City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm assuming under item 5, the direction of staff to bring back a policy that although the model of the policy for changing street names is indicated, if staff felt that there might be some additional models that we could look at, that would be acceptable.
Yes, and the motion is not to have that policy in place by March 4th.
Thank you.
But to deal with future issues, we ought to have a policy. Any other questions about the motion? We have some additional time to take additional public testimony, so I'm going to pick up where I where I left off with additional testimony, and hopefully people understand the motion in front of us. Jessica Dang, Hong Trung, Nong Dam, Bob Keeve,
Mr. Mayor and
You can pull that down so it's closer to you.
Mr. Mayor and all the council member. My name is Jessica Dang. Even I'm not a resident of city of San Jose, but I work in San Jose, and I hear all about the news about the undemocratic happen. Okay, so I would like to support Council Member Ken Sun-Chu, and I myself just want to raise the issue that do not waste money from taxpayer. Thank you.
Hong Trung, Nong Dam.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and City Council member. My name is Hong Trung. I strongly support Mr. Ken Chu proposal because it's the best way to save that money. Thank you very much.
Nong Dam, Bob Keeve.
Good afternoon.
Come a little closer to the microphone, thank you.
I support Mr. Ken Sun-Chu and I want Little Saigon. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Well put. Bob Keeve.
I support the original mayor's memorandum. I'm Bob Keeve, and I probably am the oldest owner of property on this strip, oldest in more ways than one. 41 years ago, we bought the property on Story Road. I was thrilled when Madison Nguyen came up with the idea of honoring the people who have converted so magically this strip of land, which was just dusty land and which is now really a great commercial area. It's a pity that it has been so distorted and that we are now fighting over something that we should be celebrating over. I hope that you will all support the mayor's original. I've read the other memoranda and have been confused by them. I understand the mayor's original language and I support it. And incidentally, I do hope that it is District 7 or something like it, because Pete, as you pointed out, there are some people who may not be able to vote. Because I'm a property owner there, but I don't live there. I live in San Jose. So let's make it for the whole city of San Jose if that's what we're going to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to just take a brief interruption here and talk about how we handle the rest of the meeting. We usually stop these meetings at 4 o'clock. I'd like to do that today as well. It's kind of up to the committee as to how long we can go, but I want to have some time for us to discuss it and make a decision. So I think maybe if we just take public testimony until 4 o'clock, and then we have a chance to debate the motion, decide what to do. Will that be okay with everybody's schedule? It's running a little bit late.
Yeah, I do have an appointment, but that would work fine.
Okay, because I don't want to lose a quorum before we get a decision. Because typically we're done right at 4 o'clock and everybody has other things on their calendar, and I haven't even checked mine, but I'm pretty sure I'm meeting with the city manager. As long as she's here, I'm okay. But others, other calendars. So we'll take public testimony until 4 o'clock, just so anybody's watching. I've got just almost enough cards in my hand to get there. And I know there are others who wish to speak, but we're just going to run out of time. And we're not making the decision today. We're putting something on the council agenda for the entire council to make a decision on March 4th. Okay, back to public testimony. Cal Pham, or Ka Pham, Linda Havo, and Van Nguyen.
First of all, I would like to say Happy Vietnamese New Year, everybody!
Chúc mừng năm mới.
Yeah. And I have only two sentences. The first sentence, 1 year ago, I support Mayor Chok Jit and Madison Nguyen very much. I ask everybody vote you. Second vote right now, I don't. I hope you understand why. And right now, I only support courtesy, David courtesy, because of saving hard money. Thank you so much.
Linda Havo, and Van Nguyen, and then Tin.
Thank you.
Done.
Everybody happy. Linda Hava.
Get the microphone a little closer, please. Just pull it down. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody happy. Linda Hava. I support Jason Chu. Jason Chu share a lot of money. I like Little Saigon. Everybody help me. Thank you.
Ann Van Nguyen, Tina Dong, and Nan Do.
Good afternoon, my dear and gentlemen. I am Tin Dong. To save tax money, I support Canson Chu proposal. That's it. Thank you.
Ann Van Nguyen, Nan Do, Min Nguyen.
My name is An Van Nguyen. I would like to support Mr. Kansen Chu proposal and Mr. Dave Kotozi proposal. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I lost track. Nando, or Min Nguyen?
I just say I support Mr. Kansen Chu. Thank you.
Thank you. Min Nguyen? Not Nguyen Min?
Tôi muốn nói bằng tiếng Việt, tôi nhờ anh Quỳnh Hớn dịch dùm. Kính chào quý vị. Tôi tên là Quỳnh Minh Nhật. You can translate for me.
Good afternoon, my name is Nguyen Nhật.
Cuộc chơi dân chủ nào cũng có cái giá của nó, và hôm nay là cái giá mà cô Madison phải trả.
In every game of democratic that we play, there's a price, and today is the price that Madison Nguyen has to pay.
Tôi ủng hộ ý kiến của ông Kim Chu, và tôi muốn thuế của tôi đóng phải được dùng đúng chỗ.
I support Councilman Kansen Chu memorandum, and I would like to have my tax money to be used correctly.
Tôi xin kính chào quý vị, chúc quý vị một năm mới của Việt Nam vui vẻ, năm con chuột vàng.
I would like to wish all of you a very happy new year.
All right, is there anybody in the room whose name I've called that hasn't spoken? Please come on up.
Tôi cũng không nói rằng từ Mỹ, tôi nhớ anh Hớn dịch chúng tôi. Kính chào ông thị trưởng Sucret, kính chào quý vị trong hội đồng thành phố. Tôi tên là Võ Tư Đạn. Trước kia, tôi là một người đã từng ủng hộ ông thị trưởng Sucret, và hôm nay ông thị trưởng được ngồi vào cái chức vụ này. Và hôm nay tôi đến đây, tôi để ủng hộ ý kiến của ông phó thị trưởng David Kotozi và ông Kansen Chu. Chúng tôi muốn dùng cái tiền thuế của cư dân ở San Jose dùng vào cho đúng cái việc. Và tôi mong rằng hội đồng thành phố San Jose nên lắng nghe cái tiếng nói của đại đa số người dân ở đây. Trân trọng kính chào quý vị.
Good afternoon, my name is Võ Tử Đán, and I support Mayor Chokrit during his campaign for Mayor of San Jose. Today, I would like to ask you to use my tax monies wisely, correctly. I support Dave Kotozi and Kansen Chu resolution. Thank you.
Anybody else whose name I've called that's in the room, please come on up.
My name is Tranh Đấu. I support Chu Monica. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I am Dapton. I support consensus proposal. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nguyen. To save tax money, I support consensus proposal. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else here that I've called that hasn't been up?
Good afternoon. My name Candy Dong. I live in 7 district now. Today I be here. I support the consensus proposal because I think I want save the tax money. We want save tax money. Thank you.
Okay, let's start, see if I can get back on track with where I am with the cards. Richard Lopez.
That's correct.
Oh, bingo. Got the right guy.
You couldn't miss it, could you?
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Lopez. When the constituents evaluate a candidate, they are making implicit judgment about the value the office holder contributes to the community. But in this case, the San Jose Vietnamese community has a better understanding and information of what they need than outsiders do about their own enterprises and culture. And therefore, they should be resolved within their own community rather than diluting the voting matrix and wasting taxpayers' money. Thank you.
All right, Loc Nguyen, Dan Vo, Tran Hong Dat. I know that some people are choosing not to speak. That's okay. Please give me your name when you come up. Come a little closer to the microphone, please.
I am Minh Vũ. I support the consensus and Little Saigon only. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name Raymond Nguyen. I want to stop lying, stop waiting, taxpayer money. I want to support consensus and I want to stop medicine right now.
Juliet Nguyen, Vietnamese interpreter for Mr. Raymond Nguyen. Interpretation, stop lying, stop wasting taxpayers' money. I want to support consensus. I want to stop Madison Nguyen right now.
Okay, Kathleen Flynn.
Thank you. I wanted to come forward and tell you I'm really concerned about peace in our community. I work out there in the community and I see so much hatred and so much violence, and especially with the population not understanding immigrants. I really want you to put this to a stop. And I have to tell you from my heart that putting this on the ballot I think is very wrong. It's going to create even more division. I would like to support Pete Constant and Councilman Chu's suggestion, and I would like to thank you, Mayor Reed and Madison, for opening the door to communication. But please be mindful that these people aren't hurt anymore. Thank you.
Anybody else in the room who I've called? Please come up.
Good afternoon. My name is Mai Vo, and today I be here. I want to say that our big mistake in my life and in our lives is to vote for Madison Nguyen, because she ignores our voice and she does what she wants to do by herself, by her own. And today I be here to support Mr. Kazan Chu. Thank you very much for support us. And I support for recall Madison Nguyen. And I don't want to waste money, our tax money, by voting in November. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Garbett?
William Garrett, speaking on behalf of public. Some months ago, I happened to depart the council chambers walking with Forrest Williams between the lower entrance to the council chambers and the rotunda when the two of us ran into Madison. And Forrest had asked her, I hear you're starting or trying to get a Vietnamese business district. And he basically says he supported that and encouraged any other ethnic business districts to come forth also. There was no talk of any naming or anything else. This was just a casual conversation, and I was just an innocent party, and I can't even tell you the date that the conversation occurred, other than it happened and I was present. I know that the issue is somewhat controversial. My particular issues at the time a vote was taken on, it was an improper expenditure by the redevelopment agency. If you actually look at it, you cannot qualify under the referendum timely for a vote. To go and have a vote, it has to be a single issue vote.
I'm sorry, your time
are you
is up.
going to rename the city of San Jose
I'm
as a
sorry, your
single
time
issue?
is up.
Thank you.
We're short time today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nguyen. I support Karen Chu. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Lisa Locke. I'd just like to say, as I know, if the Brown Act is violated, the City Council has to revote on the issue rather than putting it on a citywide ballot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think that completes the public testimony on this item, although I have to apologize. Between difficult handwriting, bad eyes, and poor pronunciation, I might have missed a few people, but I think we got them all. So I want to thank everybody for coming. We'll bring this back to the committee for discussion. And I'd like to start by talking about the election and the cost of the election and why I support putting this on the ballot. You know, we have some big disagreements in this country from time to time, big disagreements everywhere, and elections is a way to settle that. It's very democratic, very traditional. And in this particular event, we have people that are quite upset for what the council did back in November. Council made a decision after many months of consideration and many hours of testimony, listening to hundreds, if not thousands of people, either in person or by email. And that's our job, is to take tough decisions, try to weigh the interests of the entire community, and come to a resolution. There are 11 of us. Sometimes we have 11 different points of view. Sometimes we have one point of view. In this case, we had several. But we do our best with what we have, the facts we have, when we have it. So we made a decision. That doesn't mean that we're infallible or that we're always right. And there is a provision in the law that allows the people to overcome a decision taken by their elected representatives via referendum. Requires collecting signatures to put it on the ballot. But if the people who didn't like our decision wanted to do that, they could collect the signatures and put it on the ballot, and there would be a vote. So essentially what we're doing is skipping that signature collecting process and putting it on the ballot, and I think that's a reasonable way to get a resolution to this. Not everybody's going to be happy, but not everybody's going to be happy after any election. You know, that's not our objective here. We're trying to get a resolution that most people will support, and we think this is a way to do that. Yes, there's a cost involved. We've asked the clerk and the city attorney to figure out whether it's more costly in June or more costly in November or more costly for 6 names or 1 names. Those facts need to be in front of the council when the council makes the decision about when it should go on the ballot or if it should go on the ballot, because we're just putting it on the council agenda. The council majority could say, no, we're not putting it on the ballot. The council majority could say, no, we want to do it exactly the way we did it before. We're just recommending a format, go on the council agenda for the discussion and a resolution with the recommendations that Madison Nguyen outlined in her motion, which modified the written recommendations with regard to the ballot measure. Councilman Churko, you've been so quiet so long. I think you ought to have a chance to talk.
Well, unfortunately, Chuck, you seem to have covered all the points that were important to me. I think the the public perception is not the reality, but it is the public perception, and perception becomes reality. And the way to address perception is to do what is the most fundamental to our democratic form of government, which is to take it to the people for a vote. So I support this motion for that reason. And I also support it for citywide. I really went back and forth. Is it district or is it citywide? I haven't heard from just District 7. I've heard from citywide. So this issue has really become greater than District 7. It has become really greater than San Jose. But we have the ability to put it on the ballot for the city of San Jose, and that is why I support that. And as I feel Chuck so articulately drew out, what is a process that I believe fervently in, as do all of the speakers, that they believe in the democratic process, they believe in the power of the ballot, and this honors the democratic process and honors the power of the ballot. So that's why I support this motion.
How come you never accused me of being quiet?
Never had reason to.
Couple just clarifications to make sure some of the stuff we discussed are actually part of the motion, and that was the consideration of potential other methods like the S&I voting, and that it's actually part of the motion. Number 5, I think is a little limiting when it says modeled on the council policy for changing street names. I think it should just be changed to look at several options for the best option. You know, give staff a lot of leeway there, because I think maybe after we look at the S&I balloting, that may be something we want to do to take that RDA stakeholder process to the next level. So as long as that's clearly part of the motion, I'm okay with it going forward. Again, as long as the agenda is noticed in a way that we're not locked into taking action only on this memo, that the council can have discussion and potentially go in other directions if there's obviously a consensus to go that way.
Is that your amendment?
Yes.
Accepted.
Okay, so that is a friendly amendment, accepted as a friendly amendment to the motion. Make sure that the clerk and the city attorney are okay with the level of specificity so that they know what we're asking the clerk, the city attorney, and the manager to do on that? Okay. It's essentially what we usually do, which is provide the council with alternatives, just in case the council wants to do what the council does, which is make decisions.
And you'll have an opportunity next Wednesday to look at the first cut of the language, because the March 4th agenda will be on your Rules Committee agenda.
Okay. I don't know if the public heard that, but next Wednesday at the Rules Committee, we will be looking at the agenda, the first version of the agenda for March 4th. That's what we do. That's where we started this meeting. And so we'll have some information for the public to see as early as, well, Friday was when the draft agenda gets put out. We may not be done with the work. I certainly won't be done with the work, but everybody should look at the draft agenda and for an early indication.
Next Tuesday.
Not this
Wednesday.
one.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday at the Rules Committee. I'm sorry. Let me get that straight. The draft agenda for March 4th is published on Wednesday morning before the Rules Committee meeting, because it's 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks out. All right. So a week from today, there'll be some information, although they won't be done with all their work. Anything else, Councilmember Nguyen, that you wanted to add?
Thank you, Mayor Reed. I just wanted to conclude by saying that I think today what we have seen when Phaedra Ellis Lamkin brought both representative from San Jose Voters for Democracy and a representative from our Voice for Democracy to come forward. I think that from now until March 4, I look forward to working with both groups and individuals from the community to see if we can come to some kind of resolution and have a more effective discussion on March 4. So I look forward to working with everyone. So just to the member of the public, feel free to contact us. I know that it's not a lot of time, but we're trying to squeeze in as many people and have as many productive discussion as we possibly can, because all of us here do want to reach a resolution on this issue.
Any further committee discussion, anything from the city attorney, manager, city clerk, or the staff? So we have a motion on the floor All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, that carries unanimously. So I think that almost completes our Rules Committee agenda. We still have one more item, which I'm sure not very many people are passionate about, but it is important that we add some more work to the Community and Economic Development Committee work plan. We have a request to add the soft closing pilot program follow-up report, update report on the status of the Berryessa flea market, update report on revolving loan programs to the March 24th, 2008 committee agenda.
As a member of that committee, I'll unhappily say, give me more work. I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
A reluctant motion, more work. That's okay. I appreciate it. Any further discussion on that item? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, that carries unanimously. That takes us to our usual standing questions of open government initiatives. I think we just spent some time on open government. I think that was the only thing up. Anything else in that category? Anyone else wishing to address the council on something that we didn't already talk about? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.